Maleficent 2. Now I know I already did a video earlier about about the review about this movie, but I'm gonna start from fresh. Okay, so what I'm gonna do in the first 5-6 minutes is that I'm gonna give you a spoiler-free review of Maleficent, the Mistress of Evil. Meaning like if it's a good movie to watch, why did I like it so much? You know, why you should go see it or why some people shouldn't go see it. So that's how it's gonna work out. Then after that, after the 5 or 6 minutes discussing that, maybe less, we're gonna be talking about the highlights of the movie that I really enjoyed, the reasons why I liked it and I enjoyed it so much that I thought were good for the movie. And so yeah, because in the last video I was going too much into detail and I felt like there's no need and it was becoming too long. So I was like, you know what? Let's not make it too long. So yeah. So let's just get down to business and let's just start over. So yes, starting off, Maleficent. I went to go see the second movie last night. Uh, I thought the first film was okay. Like it was interesting seeing a different alternative version of like what if Maleficent was misunderstood and what if she was the good guy. You know, I thought, all right, it's good. But although I'm still a fan of the original Maleficent, the cartoon version, because I like the evil version and I grew up with that cartoon version of Maleficent. But other than that, like it's still good. The first movie, so I was like, should I go watch the second movie? At first, I was like, why would they make a second one? There's no need. I felt like, in my opinion, there's no need to make a second movie. But I was like, let's give it a chance, all right? Because the first teaser trailer it caught my attention, so I was like, all right. But then the second full trailer, I was like, wait, so now there's more Maleficents? Like there's more of her kind out there? I don't know about that, but that's because I'm not used to that. Because I'm so used to the old Maleficent. So I was like, all right, you know what? I need to have an open mind about it. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm still gonna go watch it and everything. So here are my thoughts. Was this for those of you who are interested in seeing this movie? If you already saw the first one and you liked it a lot, and you want to see this one, I say give it a shot because it's really good. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it, and I thought it had a lot of good moments, a lot of highlights. I will say most of the time in the story in the movie it drags a little bit because there are some parts where you're just like it's pretty boring, sad to say, but then it picks up. So it has a moment where it like dies down, it gets boring, but then the excitement happens. So I was like, okay, so that's good. Overall, it's a good movie. Now I will say this: people who are fans of the original Maleficent, the cartoon version, as I am, um, you may not like this movie at all. So I'm gonna tell you this: don't watch it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money because you're not gonna like it. Why? Because this Maleficent, this live action version of Maleficent, is very different from the cartoon version. Okay, because they change her a lot. That's all I'm gonna say. That they change her a lot, but I liked it though. I accepted the change because this is their version of her, and I liked it. I will still always love the cartoon version because I love the evil Maleficent, but this Maleficent still kicks ass, and I accepted the new change that they did for her because I thought makes sense. All right, I'll go with that. Sure, why not? Oh well, it is what it is. But then what made me like it even more was because of the story. So I think Angelina Jolie did a great job. I think she was meant for this role to play as Maleficent. I can't picture somebody else to play the role, but I think she did good. I will say though, Angelina Jolie in this movie, Maleficent, she doesn't say that much. I mean, she doesn't have a lot of lines compared to the first one. She talks a lot, but this one, she has a lot of screen time, but she doesn't say much. So I thought that was like the negative part about it. I wanted her to say more, but whenever she would speak, it was awesome because there were mostly funny moments or But I don't know. I just wish she would have spoke more in this film. That's the only downfall about it. Um, what else is All right, another thing I liked about this movie were the dresses that they made for Maleficent. The costume designer for Maleficent, pro- uh, two thumbs up for you because I loved all of her costumes that she wore in this movie. The dresses, the one she wore for uh, the night dinner, whatever, the dinner scene when the dress she wore for that was beautiful. It was perfect. I love the veil that they put over her horns so that way Aurora thought so she wouldn't feel embarrassed to show her thorns when she goes to meet the king and queen for dinner. But I think honestly, Aurora just didn't want to freak out Prince Philip's parents when they see Maleficent, you know. So it's like, oh well. But I think it was a dick move on Aurora's part to like, you know, I want you to basically just telling Maleficent, not letting her be who she is. But I guess either way, that veil over her horns did look good. She looked good with that dress. Another one was there were so many dresses. I can't say that much, but there were all the dresses that she wore in this film were beautiful. So there were like dresses that I would see Maleficent wear, so that was perfect. Another thing that I liked about it was the fantasy world in this movie. You know, in the first film, it takes place in the magic forest. Well, now in this one, um, we go to another magical place where Maleficent's her own kind, more of her people live. Um, I guess they were called fairies, right? Yeah, they were called. We're more of her like creatures that look like her, where they live. You get to go see where they live, where they came from, where they're hiding, and it's really beautiful. I thought it was really beautiful because the moment when she wakes up after she was attacked, you know, she sees herself in this whole different world, and I love the scenery of it. I like the way it looked, um, especially the magical forest. It was good to see the magical forest again, but I like that place as well. So that was another beautiful part. Let's see. And I think that was it. The story can drag. Yeah, I already talked about it. Like I said, the story tends to drag a little bit in most parts where it's just boring, but then it does pick up again, especially towards the end, guys. The end, towards the end, it gets very exciting. It gets very good. So stay tuned for that. I will not give that much away. So, other than that, that's all I could say for that one. So yeah, if you really loved the first movie, the first Maleficent movie, go see this one because it's really good. In my opinion, I thought it was better than the first one. So I really love the second one. I would definitely buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out. Um, for those of you who didn't like the first one and you're passionate, strong fans for the original Maleficent, the evil Maleficent, don't watch this. Don't waste your time. Giving you another warning. And so that's it. That's all I could say for now for the non-spoiler review of Maleficent, the Mistress of Evil. And one thing though, I felt like the title Mistress of Evil, I was like, they should have made it a little bit more clear. I was like, okay, you know, we're familiar with the title when Maleficent in the cartoon version, she calls herself the Mistress of Evil. And in this one, it's like, I felt like the Mistress of Evil, I think they meant that for the Queen, but I'm not too sure because they never called her that. But I felt like that title was unnecessary. But I guess whatever. That's another thing where I'm just like doesn't make sense. But I guess if they meant it for the Queen, then okay. But at the same time, it's like, because she's not really the Mistress of Evil, Maleficent. She's really a kick-ass hero in this one. So yeah, that's all I could say. Thank you. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna end this video from out for my YouTube channel, like clip it, and then that way people won't get worried about. You know what? No, I won't do that. Let's just keep going, because now we're gonna talk about the highlights. You know, I'm not gonna do all that editing. I'm sorry, guys. I just want to get this done. So so yes, now we're done with this non-spoiler review. We're now going to talk about the highlights, which contains spoilers. So for those of you who are watching and you haven't seen this movie yet, I recommend that you just stop watching and just take off, run away. All right? Because now we're going to get into details. For those of you who have seen the movie, you're more than welcome to stay tuned and listen to my highlights because maybe they're also your favorite moments in the movie. And I can't wait to talk about the towards the end part because that one was like great. So yeah, if you're still watching, if you haven't seen it, get out. All right, so here are the highlights. Most of the highlights in this movie were when Maleficent would come out because that's the whole point of the movie, to see more of Maleficent. Like I said in the non-spoiler review part, I didn't like that she didn't have enough lines to say, but part of me feels like maybe she didn't have to say that much. Maybe she just needed to be there, but you want her to say more stuff because you love hearing what she says. Because I think her lines are not only funny, but they're so clever. The way Angelina Jolie delivers those lines is like perfect, but doesn't happen. So that's my downfall about it. So yeah, the highlight is when she comes out. The highlight is with the dresses. Let me see that she wears. I think my favorite dress was the dinner when the dress she wears for the dinner with the king and queen. That was one of my favorite dresses, and also the ending. You know what? Also the wedding dress. I can't choose because they're all so great. They were all beautiful. Let's see. Hmm. So Prince Philip. Yeah. So Prince Philip asked Aurora to marry her. Also, the highlights was when Aurora was gonna tell her godmother, which is Maleficent, about the news that Prince Philip proposed to her. And when she tells her, Maleficent was all like, "Oh, poor boy, he'll recover." Meaning, like, I guess she thought Aurora said no, but Aurora's like, "I said yes." And Maleficent's like, "No, no, 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 no." And then Aurora's like, "Yes. I mean, I wasn't asking for permission." And then Maleficent's like, "Nor was I." So I thought that part was kind of funny. Another funny part was when Maleficent's like, "All right, I'll go to this dinner that the king and queen invited me to. We'll go to meet Prince Philip's parents. I'll do it for you, Aurora, my daughter." She's like getting ready. She's already dressed up for the dinner, and she's like preparing herself. Like, how am I gonna like introduce myself? How am I gonna speak to them? While she's practicing in front of the reflection in the pond in the river. And her bird friend, I forget his name. He's all like, try saying it with a little less smile, because of her fangs. I thought that was hilarious. And then there was another part where he's like telling her, "Why don't you curtsy when you meet them?" And she just looks at him like, "No," She just stays quiet, and he's like, "Or you don't have to do that. Don't worry about that." So that whole part was cool. It was cute and funny. Another part was when they were off to go meet the king and queen for dinner. When they were to get to the castle, to the kingdom where the king and queen are, where Prince Philip's parents live. There's no bridge. When they were coming across the river, there was no bridge. So we're like, how the heck are they gonna get across? And so I thought, shouldn't there be a bridge? Because how does Prince Philip come across to meet Aurora and then go back home? There should have been a bridge. I don't know why they didn't see it unless Maleficent, Aurora, and the bird friend, that all three of them that were going to dinner, were too lazy to find the bridge and they were just going straight up ahead. Well, in that part, I liked how Maleficent uses her magic to make the vines and the branches form a bridge so they could go across it. And while they were crossing it, Maleficent had her wings around her friends, protecting them so, they crossed safely. And when they were coming across the bridge, and the people in the other side in the kingdom, when they see all the branches coming and everything, and they see Maleficent coming, they're familiar with her, that she's a witch. They're all terrified, and the kids and the women, they're all running away, screaming, scared. I thought that part was funny. And Maleficent's like, humans are hilarious. And I don't know, that part was hilarious. Because, like, just seeing an evil witch that you're familiar with coming to your kingdom, you're like, you're terrified of her. So I thought that was funny. So yeah, now comes one of my favorite moments: the dinner scene. The dinner between Maleficent, the bird friend, Aurora, the king and queen, and Prince Philip. So yeah, so the way it starts, Aurora, meets Prince Philip's parents for the first time, I guess. Yeah, because I don't think she's ever met them because they were like, "Oh, you're so beautiful" and everything. And when the queen says hello to Aurora for the first time, she smells her crown that was like made into flowers. I thought at first, because she does this reaction like, oh, like disgusting. She didn't like the smell. I thought she didn't like how Aurora smelled or her hair smelled, but no, she's like, "Oh, it's just your flowers. I'm allergic to them." And then Aurora's like, "I'm so sorry," and she's like, "No, that's fine, whatever." And so yeah, another thing I forgot. Another highlight was when the first time we meet, they introduced the queen in the scene when the king and queen when the king's servants are announcing like, oh, more weapons have arrived for you, your majesty. And the king's like, I didn't order these weapons. Who's ordering these weapons? That's enough. We don't need weapons. And it was the queen, she's looking at, she's all fascinated with the weapons. When we get introduced to her and Prince Philip announced to them that, oh, I had proposed to Aurora and she said, yes, we're going to get married. She's like not happy about it, but the king's all excited and, looking forward to it because it's a chance for them, for both kingdoms, Aurora's kingdom and theirs, to be reunited, to become a whole. So, but the queen was just all, you can tell she was not all happy about it. She was just disappointed, but at the same time, she puts on a fake impression like, good for you, like invite her parents, invite her mother, Maleficent. And you're like, are you sure? It's like, yes. After all, they are going to be part of this family, so eventually we have to meet them. So yeah. So when she goes off in her secret, when the queen goes off to her secret room where all the mannequins were wearing her dresses, and then she like twists one of the mannequins' head, and it reveals a secret door, and she starts going down the stairs to her secret dungeon lair. That part kind of reminded me of the evil queen from Snow White when she was going down the stairs to create, her potions. I was like, okay, we're getting a little resemblance of the evil queen. But all right, let's see. Because I was hoping like, don't give me evil queen vibes because then you're just going backwards too. You're comparing it to Snow White. But and then I also got another comparison of the queen in this movie, that she was like the wicked stepmother because she also had a cat. So I was like, huh. So they're trying to combine her, with the wicked stepmother from Cinderella, because she had a cat too. So I was all like, all right, there's some combinations, references going on here. So I guess. But she was actually Prince Philip's mother. She was not the stepmother. She was his mother. Um, I thought that was like, one moment that I thought gave me references to the Evil Queen. But back to the dinner scene. So the moment after Aurora meets the parents, Maleficent and her bird friend, I forget his name, guys, sorry, they come in and, they say hello and everything and they have a seat. When they have a seat and they're about, and they're being served the dinner, Maleficent, already she cannot touch the forks and the plate because it's all metal. And we all for those of us who are familiar with the first movie, she her weakness is metal. She can't touch it because it kills her. So she's just there and she's just like, and Aurora announces like, "Oh, Your Majesty, as you are allergic to flowers, my mother, my godmother, and she is allergic to metal. She cannot touch it." And the queen's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Take that away immediately." But then this big move when she's all like, "But I'm pretty sure you could eat with your hands. I'm sure, like, because you're used to it." I'm just immediately Maleficent looks at her like, yeah, I'm over it. It's like we're already going bad right there. So, yeah. And then it gets worse with the part where the queen continues to ask questions to Aurora. She's like, how is it that you have two kingdoms or whatever? And then, how did your father die again? Did he die or was he killed? I don't remember I don't remember what happened. And Maleficent's just like both, you know. And she continues to make the whole dinner uncomfortable. The queen. It was mostly the queen's fault and the cat. They kept bothering Maleficent's bird friend, the bird guy friend. She was saying how, I remember the story when a young princess was cursed by an evil witch that she would not wake up, and all this stuff. And Maleficent's just there, like listening, and she can't do anything about it because it's not enough that she was already, she didn't want to come first off, but she was doing it for Aurora because that's her daughter, and she's getting married to Philip, so she's like putting all that aside, her ego and everything, and she's just there, for the sake of her daughter. But the evil queen, it was obvious that she was planning to get Maleficent to do something bad, to cause a scene in the dinner table. So when the queen was mentioning, um, what was she saying? That, the story about, a princess and she was cursed by an evil witch. And I thought that was so dumb when the king was all like, "Why? Who would do such a thing? That's so evil and everything." I thought that was so dumb because it's like I'm sure all the townsfolk, the people in the kingdom know about the story, and the queen obviously knew about the story, and the king hasn't. It's like were you under a rock or something? Like how could that be a shock to you? Like how could that be the first time you hear such a thing? I thought that was kind of dumb. And then Maleficent, she starts saying like, you know, well, there are those who prey on the innocents. I'm sure your kind will agree. And the king's like, your kind? What does she mean by that? And the queen's like, humans. But Maleficent continues like, I've heard, that there are some fairies gone missing. And the king's like, this is the first time I've heard of it. And Maleficent's like, well, someone gave the order, to come into the magical forest and kidnap some of our, magical creatures. So they look at the queen, and then the queen's just all quiet about it. But then, what makes things more awkward was it when the king and queen's knight starts saying like, "Well, two of our people have gone missing, and we've heard that a creature attacked them." And we all know that it wasn't Maleficent, and but it was just making things uncomfortable. Although Aurora and Prince Philip were trying to like change the situation, trying to make things not so awkward. But then it just gets really bad when the evil queen, I'm gonna call her the evil queen, when she starts talking about like, good job, Maleficent, for raising Aurora to become, this wonderful person, how respectable she is. You did good in your part, but now that she's gonna become a family, she can now get the real love she deserves, and a real love from a mother. And I was like, oh wow. So I didn't blame Maleficent for lashing out because after that she just all hell broke loose. She starts like using her magic to push away the guards because they were waiting for that moment for her to cause a scene, and it does happen. That's what the queen wanted, for Maleficent to cause a scene, because it was all part of her plan to go behind the king and starts panicking like, oh, she's attacking, and then the king gets put to sleep. I really thought, well, after we didn't find out the truth until later that the evil queen uh, placed the curse on the king by stabbing him with the needle from the spinning wheel that Aurora touched when she fell into the curse. So she stabbed him in the arm. I thought she stabbed him from the side or something, but no, it was from the arm or something. I really thought that when the king was acting up and he was like, oh, something was happening to him, and he faints, I thought the evil queen poisoned his food, and that's why he was knocked out. Um, and then the evil queen was, everybody was already accusing Maleficent, like after she lashed out, they accused her of putting a curse on the king, and even Aurora starts to believe it because you know she there are times when she has some issues with her mom, and when Maleficent didn't agree to Prince Philip asking Aurora to marry him, she was already like not she was not agreeable with it. So it's understandable for Aurora to like think that her mother would do such a thing, but at the same time, like, come on, like, you've known her for quite a long time now. You would have thought you would have still second give it a second thought, like, no, my mom wouldn't do such a thing. But I guess it was in the moment that she felt bad for Prince Philip's dad, that she took their side instead of her own mother's side. So poor Maleficent, as embarrassed as she was, she left. She left the dinner along with her bird friend, but then she got attacked. So yeah, that's that, and then it leads to her uh, falling into the river. She falls into the waterfall, and then she gets saved by one of her own kind, her own creatures, the Maleficent creatures, I guess you could say. Let's call them Maleficent creatures. Um, she gets taken away to their home. So that was the highlight, the dinner scene. So that was a cool scene. And okay, and here comes another highlight. I thought it was so funny that after they bring the king to the bedroom, and then they're all like, Aurora's like, she feels really bad about what happened, that she feels guilty. Um, she's like, wait a minute, if he's under the curse, why don't you wake him up with true love's kiss? That's how it happened. That's how I was woken up. And the evil queen's like, no, no, that's not going to work. She's like, no, give it a shot. You already knew that the evil queen's just like, I already knew that it was not going to work because I was like, it's not going to work because I can tell she doesn't love the king, you know? And what, either way she does, but when she kisses him, it doesn't work. So I was like, of course it's not going to work. Um, but it should have, though. It should have when you think about it, because if it was a sleeping curse, that moment should have been an eye opener for them. Like, why didn't it work? I would have thought Mom, the Queen, loved the King so much it would have worked. And I thought, well, why didn't they get Prince Philip to kiss his own dad? Like, in the forehead, like the way Maleficent did when she woke up Aurora. Why didn't they do that? And they didn't. They never did that. It's like, okay, so it only has to be the woman that has to kiss the man? Or the woman has to kiss, it has to be a woman that has to break the curse, not a man? I thought that was like a little missed opportunity there. I was like, Prince Philip, you love your dad so much, so why don't you do it? You try it. And it didn't work. I mean, well, he didn't do it. So I thought that was like a missed opportunity. So let's see. That was her people. Wow. Yeah, so then after that, Maleficent discovers her people. That's part of like one of the boring parts of the movie, in my opinion. Because I was like, all right, it's interesting at the same time, but it's also like, because I was also because in that moment when we start learning about Maleficent's creatures, that there were more of her kind out there, and then where they came from. It was kind of like there were moments I didn't pay that much attention, but then at the same time, like, oh, that's cool. At least she found a place where she belongs. She discovered her roots. So I thought that was cool. Meanwhile, the evil queen was trying to get Aurora to like her. Like, oh no, this is not your fault, my dear. Like, this is Maleficent's fault. She's a witch. She tends to do this. I'm sure she didn't like that. You were gonna get married and everything. That she caused all this to happen. But we all know that it was all the evil queen. It was all part of her plan. Okay, so there's another part where when Aurora, meanwhile, when Aurora was with the king, Prince Philip and her parents, and Maleficent was with her family, I guess you could say. Aurora starts. There was that scene where Aurora was like looking outside, and she starts remembering the times when she, about her mother. And that part, I was like, Aurora, like you still should have been like, I need to go find my mother. Like, I don't think that she would have done such a horrible thing, but it doesn't. She's just still like, I guess, because she felt more guilt than to believe that her mother would have done such a thing. She felt more guilty than trying to think like, no, I don't think my mother was capable of doing such a horrible thing, but it doesn't happen. But Maleficent, in the meantime, she felt abandoned. She felt like her own daughter betrayed her, like everybody hates her again. Because now that the king is cursed, I'm sure everyone in the kingdom knows, and they're gonna like, no, they're gonna hate her even more than how they did before. So she already felt like an outcast. But then she didn't feel like an outcast anymore when she met her family. She met more maleficent creatures like her. Um, she found a place where she could fit in, and also like forget about what happened. And so yeah, I thought that was like a cool thing. Let me see. I will say this. Angelina Jolie in this movie, she's so beautiful, and I thought like, wow, I know it's a lot of makeup and everything, but there were a lot of scenes where I was like, she looks gorgeous, especially on the dresses. Um, so yeah, I thought she was like really terrific in this film. The place where Maleficent makes up. Oh yeah, so the place where she wakes up, uh, the home where the Maleficent creatures were at, I thought that place was beautiful because the moment she wakes up and she's roaming down the little circular area where it's like glowing white, that looks gorgeous. I thought that was a beautiful scenery. And let me see. Oh yeah, and so back to Aurora. I like how she remembers. Well, back with Aurora, when the queen was trying so much to get Aurora to like her and everything, and then look, make her think that her mother is bad, she was like remembering. Aurora was remembering like back then when she would hang out with Maleficent in the first film, how she was more free and everything, and I like that she realizes that she's not all into the royalty stuff because she never grew up with in a royalty family. Because remember in the first film, after she was cursed, she was still a baby, and the three good fairies took her away from the kingdom so they could raise her and everything in the forest. So Aurora grew up in the forest. She was free. She was able to do anything. She wore whatever she did whatever she wanted. But in this whole new life, when she was like living with the king and queen, and then the queen was like making her wear these dresses because in that part where Aurora's like showing her the dress that she wanted to wear for the wedding, the queen's all like, yeah, it's nice. But wear my dress that I wore for my wedding, and this is what I wore, and I'm sure it would suit you. And then Aurora's just like, no, like I don't like all this royalty, and I like how she tells Prince Philip about that, like this isn't me, and I'm like, there we go, because I don't want her to break out of that character because that's how she was in the first one because she knows she doesn't like it. That's just not who she is. She's more of a free princess. She's not all into that royalty, like I said. Let me see. Oh yeah, and then we find out that the Queen's helper, the little minion or whatever he was, by the way, the same actor who came out in Harry Potter and other films, he played the little, what was he like? Just a fairy tale creature, right? That would help the evil queen create like these potion that was gonna like turn the fantasy the fairy tale creatures back to normal. Um, I thought that was like crazy when they did that. When she's like, "Show me how it works, that potion," and when they tested it on that poor little creature, um, I thought that was so sad that when he turned to regular, I was like, "So is that how they're gonna die?" I thought that was like intense, a little intense, not too intense, but like kind of like, oh, it leaves you like, oh no, so what are they gonna plot now? Are they gonna like destroy all the creatures in the magical forest with that thing? So yeah, they all go. The queen commands her knights and everyone to go get more of those flowers from the magical forest so they can create more potions where they can eliminate all the fairy tale creatures. And the moment they were doing that, I like how Maleficent, she's so into I guess the magical forest. She's like connected with nature. She felt the pain. She felt when the flowers were being ripped from the ground, and she immediately had to go back and stop them. But it was too late. By the time she got there, it was already too late. They got all the flowers. I thought that was sad because when she mentioned like this is the area where we bury the ones we lost. So I was like that was like a graveyard. So that was kind of like sad. Hmm. Turns Venom into the dead. Let me see. Maleficent senses the flowers. Being taken. All right. So now we're gonna get to the wedding day. Yeah, because after that, yeah, we're almost done, guys. Yeah. Yeah. So now we're gonna talk about the wedding day. I thought, you know what? Should I split this up because I felt like the wedding day is something I need because that's the best part actually through this whole film, the wedding day. Because everything else was like ups and downs, like I said at the movie. But then this part, there's so much to talk about. So you know what? I'm not gonna like talk about it this much in this video. I'm gonna separate it. So, anyways, I need to like go run and do something else, guys. But for those of you who are watching this, this is the first part of the Maleficent Mistress of Evil review movie. Spoilers. This is the first part. So the way it's gonna work now, I didn't plan this. The way it's gonna work now, in the second part, we're gonna talk about the whole. This is like towards the end movie, the whole part, the spoilers, the wedding day. So yeah, because there's just so much to talk about because that was like the best part of the movie. So yeah, stay tuned. I hope to see you guys in the next video because that's what we're gonna talk about. Feel free to jump in. And I hope you guys enjoyed this part of the video, the first part of the review. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the second video. Take care, everyone, and thank you so much for watching this once again. Bye bye.